as the boat once did.
You are way too good at that. That's disturbing how good you are at that.
Nonsense is my game.
Yeah, all right, well,
I'm looking forward to just
it.
creeping slowly into dementia as
And
I
just
get further
it's
along.
slowly happening. That's
going to happen one time or another.
That's all this show is. It's just to show the
It's
slow.
my
Scientists
we're recording it for posterity.
People will study this afterwards, your slow movement into AI. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Between the Streams.
How we doing?
This is our live podcast where we talk about everything streaming and television, entertainment, everything that's going on with that, including the AI that we're going to talk about here in a bit. Maybe that will make sense, what we said. Maybe it won't.
Might not.
It might not. But if you are watching via YouTube, please hop in there and let us know what you want to talk about. I mean, I can tell you this. We're going to have some space movie news. Is that nondescript enough? Is that too bad of a... That was kind of a bad teaser there.
There's going to be a lot of really good things happening
Yes,
today.
a lot of things that are going to be going on.
Some Star Wars.
We've got all kinds of stuff. Warcraft people, yes. We're probably going to piss off somebody in Warcraft.
AI.
And AI news. All kinds of things that we're going to be discussing, but we want to know what you want to talk about, too, when it comes to movies, entertainment. If there's something that you're really excited about right now, hop on there into YouTube and give us your comment. But to start off, I think we need to go to this. This was something we were talking about before we even went on air. And it's a big movie that is getting released. At least I'm excited about it. Whether it's going to make a lot of money or not, I don't know. And it has to do with the newest horror movie coming out from the Conjuring franchise, which is The Conjuring 2.
Well named, aptly titled.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it is going to make money. They're looking at like a pretty big opening for it. I think it's around the $30 to $35 million mark.
Wow.
Which I was not aware that this thing was such a big deal.
Well, I mean, the original one was made for what, like $20 million and made $240 million, something along those lines.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Horror movies are so easy to make, and if you do it right.
Well, did you see the first one, though?
I guess they're not easy to make. I should say they're affordable.
Yeah, that's true.
I did not see the first one. I'm actually not a big fan of these horror movies in which they try to tell me that it's a real story.
Well, this is based on reality.
Upon a real story.
Right. It's clearly based on reality.
Clearly.
So, no.
Every time you see the commercial, too. Based on a real story.
Based on a real story.
Because ghosts are real.
Absolutely. The first one, it starred Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, if I'm saying her name right.
Okay.
I'm probably not, but
I don't know.
If you look at her, you will know who she is.
Oh, okay. I know who those. Yeah, okay.
She's in a lot of things. She's always that person's like, oh, I recognize her.
I believe she's in the DiCaprio movie with Scorsese.
Yes,
The Departed.
She's in The Departed.
She's the.
You have to say it right.
She's the psychologist.
Departed.
The Departed.
Departed.
Get my cliff on.
Anyway, yeah. Actors that are in it.
Yeah.
And it's based on this paranormal investigatory couple. Investigators, this couple that were called the Warrens, and they were real people, and that's what they did. They went around and investigated things. The Conjuring is one whole story.
They threw shoes at each other.
Yeah, I think there was some shoe throwing.
Well, so I, did a little research for this, and there's all these, fun little pop-up articles online about how it is based on a real story. And actually, in the 70s, the BBC made this documentary, I'll put in quotes, that's in quotes for the podcast people, and documentary there, about this whole phenomenon. And it's really just a really poorly shot, very dark images of these British people walking around in the house and throwing shoes at each other and like cutting the camera so that it looks like magic things have happened from the ghost. And
I'll say this, the actual movie The Conjuring's a little bit better shot than that. Oh, no,
I'm sure it is.
Although that reminds me of, have you ever seen the series A Haunting? It's on Discovery Channel, and it's still on. What it has to do with Discovery, I have no idea. But they take real ghost stories and then reenact them, not intentionally terribly, but they're awful. Like, the acting is so bad, and it's amazing. Like, I'll end up watching like 5 of those in a row just because they're so bad. And they always have like the creepy guy who's like, and then Darla went to her house, but something wasn't right. And then like, now there's some like terrible
Batman's in it.
like shadow that cuts across, and then she freaks out and runs out of the house. And,
yeah. Well, we're gonna link to this thing.
Her friends and coworkers were worried about her.
The Joker.
I could do that, by the way.
The Joker.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of Batman.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna link to this weird documentary so you can tell how big a true story it is. But I don't know. It should be interesting. I love horror movies, but I just know the ghost ones just
they don't do it.
They don't really do it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say of those,
I like a little bit more gore.
Okay, you want some more blood. You're more of a Purge kind of horror movie.
Yeah, no, not The Purge. God. Well, we were talking about it earlier. My favorite of all time is The Shining. It's an easy pick, but
okay,
I saw it when I was 11 years old, and it imprinted in my brain. Yeah. I can still watch it just in my head.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll never forget the bloody elevator scene.
That is a pretty...
Come play with us, Danny.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that is... All right, that is a pretty good one.
If you want a ghost story.
I would say The Conjuring is not up there with that level.
Right.
But it is better than a lot of the really crappy horror movies that come out, like Believe in Ghosts or Not. It's
kind of like the paranormal...
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah,
movies.
Paranormal Activities.
Yeah, I mean, it's not shot like that. It's actually shot as a movie.
Okay.
But... It's well done. I think it's well done. Whether the second one will be or not, because now they're starting to reach, because they already branched off with Annabelle, which Annabelle was not good. It was to be a spin-off of that, and there was the true story of that one, but the movie was done so quick and terribly, it was really bad. This one is about a different investigation they went on, that the Warrens went on. And so it was one in New England about a poltergeist and stuff like that. So we'll have to see if it's good. Yeah. I will probably end up going to see it at some point. Not first run. I'm not going to give them any money this weekend, but maybe when it gets to a beer theater, second run theater.
Right. Well, you know a lot about it. It sounds like
I just
you're doing PR for them.
I know way too much about it now.
Well, anyway, it looks like it's going to take number one this weekend ahead of another movie coming out this weekend, which we have been discussing.
Yes.
That has been sort of critically panned, but that doesn't matter anymore, does it, Greg?
No.
Because all that matters is that you can make money in China and Russia and a couple other spots, and you have a hit.
And that's it.
And that's Warcraft. Right now, Warcraft is its opening weekend. It's breaking records overseas. It just broke Fast Furious 7's record.
How many of those?
Or is it Furious 7? I don't know what it's called, but
you
know what I'm saying. Yeah, so it broke that record. It made like $22 million, like I think in China alone or something. It's going to make a ton of money. It's going to make about $350-400 million, like probably just overseas.
But we talked about this before with Warcraft, and neither of us play Warcraft.
Right.
I know people out there play Warcraft, and it's very, very important to them. I play my games too, but that's just not one of them.
Right.
I don't know what an orc is or a level 10 wizard master or anything like that.
Oh, you're going to get slaughtered.
Which probably. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm getting an email over that. But I don't know going into it. Is there enough to draw somebody who doesn't play Warcraft into this movie?
Well, and Duncan Jones recently, talked about that in the press, and he was like, "Yes, there is."
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I'm sure that's what he's going to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
there's
movie,
something for everybody.
I was looking earlier in the week, and they expected it to make about 20 or 22 million U.S. Stateside, but now they're thinking it's going to make around 30. So that's a pretty big opening weekend.
But how much did it cost to make?
I don't know.
It's got to be more than that with all the CGI.
You have to bring in the CGI, so I'm sure it's at least pushing the $200 million mark, and then you have to bring in the marketing, and that's sometimes as much as it costs to make the movie. It just depends. So,
well, if you play World of Warcraft and you're excited about this, let us know. Send us an email, because I want to be sold on it by somebody who plays Warcraft to somebody who doesn't. Like I want somebody to explain it to me enough to where it would interest me.
I'll check it out. I'm not going to go in the theaters for this one. And again, to me, it looks very cartoonish just with the effects alone. So that's my biggest worry. Not even necessarily the storyline, which we'll see if it does resonate with people beyond the game. But my biggest worry was just that I wasn't sure if the effects looked that great.
Yeah.
So
guess
we'll have to see it. Then again, when they do the early trailers, sometimes the effects aren't ready yet, and there are several stages that they go through to make it more realistic.
Why do they put out the trailer if they don't have the effects ready yet?
I mean, I think they just got to get something.
Just got to get something
out there. Yeah.
Well, that's in theaters this weekend.
Yeah, I believe it opens this weekend.
Opens this weekend. Okay. So Warcraft hit right there, and Conjuring 2 also coming out today. Conjuring 2 is out.
Going head to head.
So some more movie news. Well, actually, let's talk about this really quick. Just some news that came out about Star Wars.
And Star Wars is done at the theater.
Yeah,
finally.
So it's finally out.
Yeah. It's like a 6-month run.
Yeah, that is a huge run. And they're going to put it back out again at some point, too. I bet.
And it came out on Blu-ray in April, I think. So, it's been a long run. But Star Wars ended up third highest grossing movie of all time, right behind the two Cameron twins, Titanic and Avatar.
I can't believe Titanic is still the one that's that high grossing.
Never underestimate Celine Dion. I've told you that 1,000 times, Greg.
I've said it 1,000 times. If I've said it once.
I've said it once. Fucking Celine Dion. Oh, whoops. That's fine.
You really feel passionate
It's
about
gonna be
Celine
fine.
Dion.
No,
This
she's
is
she's a powerful
is there like
lady.
a personal thing?
No,
or-
she's just don't underestimate.
Oh, you're
her.
okay. I'm sorry.
Don't underestimate her.
She's okay. She's
Yeah.
a national treasure.
I said farking.
Yes, sure you did.
I sure did.
Fracking.
Oh, speaking of fracking.
See how I spun that there?
Yeah,
Kinda
speaking
weird.
of fracking.
Just get out of your Celine Dion anger.
We got some news today about the Battlestar Galactica movie, which
Yes.
should be very interesting.
Let me say this. I didn't know until you showed me this that there was going to be a Battlestar Galactica movie, and I'm not sure how I feel about just the idea of it at all.
Well, let me put it this way. If there's a sci-fi property that you can think about, there's probably either a movie or a reboot in the works. I mean, this shouldn't be surprising to anyone. But yeah, they're not using the original cast of the rebooted series, which is regarded by almost all that it's far better. You know, any sci-fi nerd in the universe will tell you that the new one, the reboot, is the true one, and then the original wasn't great.
I still like the original.
Yeah,
because
well, the original is.
I watched it on reruns when I was a kid, so
it's in the vein of like original Doctor Who stuff, right?
I don't know. I've never watched Doctor Who.
So oh my god, you have to see those first Doctor Who's. They are psychedelia and they are so weird and campy.
Mushrooms or something to watch them.
Pretty much.
Okay,
but they're fun. But anyway, so they're going to cast out the cast, I guess. They're going to start all over again. But the news we got today is that HBO's Westworld writer Lisa Joy is going to probably write the screenplay.
Okay.
And then EW also claims that Francis Lawrence of the Hunger Games fame, the Hunger Games franchise, is going to direct.
So what are they going to base this on? It's just going to be one movie?
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean,
every movie they make has to be a franchise.
You see, the thing is with Battlestar Galactica, what I felt about the last series, and I watched the entire thing.
You watched the whole thing?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. There were some ups and downs in it, but overall, I would say it was really good. The very ending.
See, that's one that I'm
not going to spoil it, but
yeah, that's the one that I've been meaning to finish.
If you've watched it, the Starbuck thing, I don't get that, but other than that.
So yeah, I've been meaning to finish the. Now, I can't. Why did you say that? You're ruining it. Now my head's just spinning. Like, what's the Starbuck thing?
It came out in 2003.
I know. No, it's way past it, but I still don't. Come on.
I didn't even say what it is.
I know.
I didn't even say what it is.
Well, I've watched the first 2 seasons of it, and it's one of those ones where you're like, oh, I'm getting a little tired of this. I'll come back to it. And then 7,000 series came out, and that was sort of at the cusp. I was watching it at sort of the cusp of the. The golden age, the TV renaissance.
Sopranos was out.
Yeah.
The Wire, maybe.
But I was watching it a little bit later, but then sort of everything blew up.
Yeah.
And I kind of haven't gotten back to it. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, at one point we thought Bryan Singer was going to direct it. So this property has been bouncing around forever. Basically since the rebooted series stopped.
I just don't think you can really do Battlestar Galactica justice in one movie. I don't.
And I don't think they're even going to try. I guarantee they're going to do Cylons coming in. They're going to do the basics. They're probably going to get to a very a good stopping point that came in the series, and then they're going to say, "See you next time. We're going to make a sequel."
I just think it's better off as a television series. I don't think that story.
So do you think it should be rebooted as a television series?
No, I think you just leave it alone. Another 10 years, then you reboot it.
Okay, what if Michael Fassbender's in it? Does that do anything for you?
No, that doesn't do anything for me. Nope. Fassbender doesn't do it.
All right, well, he's usually
gold.
Tom
Hiddleston, maybe you'll get me there.
He's usually gold. Oh, speaking of Tom Hiddleston, I didn't tell you about this, but we did watch the first episode of The Night Manager last night.
And how was it?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's really good. The scenery alone is worth the price of admission.
Okay.
Because they shot on location in Cairo and Switzerland so far, both just absolutely gorgeous venues. And Tom Hiddleston's great in it, but I got to say, both actors in it. All of a sudden, I can't think of his name. Hugh Laurie. Jeez. Jumped out of nowhere.
Oh, Hugh Laurie. All right,
Hugh Laurie is amazing in it. Hiddleston's great so far, but Hugh Laurie is brilliant. He plays this charming, villainous character of just ill repute, just one of the worst dudes ever. In fact, they call him the worst man in the world at one point. And he's just great.
He's good at those kind of roles.
And the first episode is a lot of setup, so I have to keep watching to see where it's going to go, but I can see why the Tom Hiddleston rumors are coming about for the Bond situation, and so far so good. It's going to be a fun series.
So that's a thumbs up for The Night Manager.
Yeah, I don't think that's to anybody's surprise. It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, but
that makes sense. Well,
that's my 2 cents.
Real quick with the Battlestar Galactica, that's also something I want to hear from people about if they want to see it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a tough one. Hardcore fans of Battlestar Galactica are not, I think, going to take kindly to that, although it doesn't matter. I mean, that's like hardcore Star Trek fans.
They'll figure it out.
What's that matter? Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
They're still going to make the movie.
Yeah.
All these people complaining about the new Star Trek movie, they're still going to make more movies.
Well, I think a movie version of Battlestar can be a little easier for a broad audience to take on. I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do. I never say never when it comes to that. I wasn't so sure about the Star Trek reboot. I wasn't really a big fan of Lost, and now J.J. Abrams, he's like a god.
Yeah, yeah.
in the director arena. So,
all right. Well, let's go on from there. Maybe we should go to our highlight of the week.
Okay.
The highlight, because this might explain why we started off the show in such a manner. Which you are uncannily good at that. That's. I was gonna joke about it. Like I can't even come near your level of being
of
AI.
nonsense
now I wonder
sentences.
If you are. Yeah.
I'm all algorithm.
Your ability to spew nonsense is amazing.
I'm all algorithm. Yeah. So I was looking around online, and a friend of mine sent me this movie. So what happened was these guys decided to see if an AI algorithm could write a movie script. And so what they did was they found this thing. What is it called? It's a some name like long-term memory something or other. LTSM
That's
or something.
That's a technical term. Long short-term memory.
Long short-term memory. There you go. Which makes no sense to me. But anyway, that's the kind of algorithm that they used. And what they did was feed it script after script of sci-fi movies to teach it predictable like patterns and word patterns and sentence structure patterns. And then they just kind of let it go, and it wrote this little short. And then they brought in director, actors, and they made it. They made this movie. It's like 9 minutes long, and it is absolutely nonsensical weirdness. It's so freaking strange. The interesting thing is they actually got Thomas Middleditch to play one of the lead roles. And so the algorithm basically writes these sentences. Yeah, like they even have like strange directions in the screenplay about like you should sit on the table at this point under the stars.
Right. I mean,
like all this crazy nonsense.
And I watched part of it, and it is fascinating to watch. It kind of hurts your brain a little bit watching it,
right?
Because it doesn't make any sense yet. It kind of does in weird ways, but the sentences that are put together, your examples in here. I am not a bright light.
Yeah.
You should see the boy and shut up. I was the one who was going to be 100 years old. It's so bizarre. But you could see, though, if they were to work this out, and eventually working on something like this, it could write a script of something.
Well, and that's the crazy idea. So we're at the sort of dawn of AI intelligence. That's redundant, but we're at sort of the dawn of, artificial intelligence being able to start really not necessarily creating its own consciousness, which is, sort of the end goal. But we're really at the dawn of it being able to predict human like speech patterns and understand human, speech patterns in a way that, we haven't seen before. And we were talking about that yesterday on the podcast. That's what Apple and Google are all working feverishly on. But it's interesting to think of, to push this forward 10 years. Could an AI algorithm actually write a decent, coherent script that we'd want to watch?
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you feed it enough scripts of really popular movies, like, okay, this works, this works, and then just have it run through that. Okay, here's how the plot line should work. You need this kind of character and this kind of character. Here's how they interact. I mean, I certainly could see it as a possibility that it could eventually do that.
Absolutely. And this film again it has sentences that don't make sense, but it's fun watching. For this example, it's fun watching the actors try to sculpt some sort of coherent storyline around it and bring emotion to it, which they really do pretty well.
Yeah.
The first time I started watching it, and we'll link to it here in the story. You can watch it on. We actually wrote a story about it on Digital Trends as well. But the first time I started watching it, about 2.5 minutes in, I had to get out of there because I was starting to have sort of a dizziness of my own consciousness. It's really strange to hear people speak in sort of nonsense words.
Because your brain realizes this isn't right, yet you still keep watching it. Yeah, it's fascinating.
It sort of fuzzes your consciousness a little bit. But then I kept going in and I watched the whole thing, and it's just really fun to watch these actors try to pull emotion out of this story.
And which it's Thomas
Middleditch.
From
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley, lead in Silicon Valley. So
yep.
All right, so that's the highlight of the week, and that's the links at digitaltrends.com.
Yeah, we'll link it to this post as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so definitely check it out. It is well worth watching it.
So weird,
just to see how strange it is.
It is so weird. And it's only 9 minutes of your time. It's totally worth it.
Let's see. Moving on, maybe to this next one. You did say there is another remake. I guess we can jump back into the remakes.
Yeah.
this is one that I just don't see how it's needed.
Right.
It's not necessary. Splash.
Oh, Splash. Okay, yeah.
Getting a remake. Why?
So this is an interesting one as well. Brian Grazer, who is, sort of Ron Howard's production partner. They're one of the biggest power couples, power teams, power partners.
Whatever you want to say.
In Hollywood. They've made some of the biggest movies of all time. They make a lot of series. I think they were the guys behind Arrested Development, all kinds of things.
Definitely.
Brian Grazer wrote a script for Splash. And if you don't know what Splash is, it's this 80s movie that actually pretty much launched Tom Hanks' career to be a leading man.
And made me feel weird about Daryl Hannah after that. Yeah.
Daryl Hannah was gorgeous
this was
as a mermaid in this film.
Yeah.
So it's a film about a mermaid who comes to land. Whenever she's out of salt water, she can walk around. And Tom Hanks, falls in love with her and all this. Originally, apparently, the script was supposed to be from the mermaid's point of view. But it was rewritten before they made the movie to be from Tom Hanks' point of view. And if you watch the movie, it's all shows, Hanks' life. He's got John Candy is playing his brother, which is really fun. And John Candy plays a really fun character, actually, in Splash. But yeah, they had to change it up. So the interesting thing about the reboot is Grazer wants to go back and sort of make the movie that he was intending to make in the first place, in that he wants to do it, the rumor has it anyway, that he wants to do it from the mermaid's perspective.
Okay. I mean, I guess
I found
since
that kind of interesting because they now have the CGI tech to go underwater and check out the mermaid's land.
Yeah,
go to the that was a dumb way to put it. Check out the mermaid's town, I should say. But
welcome to Mermaid Town.
Yeah, Mermaid Town. So that could be cool. I was thinking of it like, the way I think of it is like, I bet the movie pitch when they went in was like, think of Aquaman as a rom-com. At least that's how I'd pitch it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, if you had all the amazing underwater effects to just make it look spectacular, and then you brought her on land.
Okay, I guess now that I'm thinking about that, I can see how that would
could be interesting. The other rumor, though, which is really strange to me, is that they're going to make it a merman.
Oh.
Merman. Man.
Okay.
Which he's going to come up and try to find his lost love.
Okay.
Who presumably found Tom Hanks or somebody like him or whatever. So it could even be like a sequel.
Ultimately, it's kind of gross, mermaid and merman. I mean, in the whole...
Because of the fish thing?
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing when you really think about it. So
yeah, well, you're not supposed to really
You're not really supposed to put that much thought into it. So
no.
So
but anyway, so that would be the way that they're rumored to do it. Grazer is being pretty tight-lipped on it, so we really don't know.
Well, talking about things that are coming back from the 80s, there is something else that's coming out on Netflix today.
Ooh, I'm excited about this, actually.
It is The Return of Voltron. Voltron. So it is a brand new series of Voltron, the original 80s cartoon. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. It's like 5 different metal panthers that people ride in, and then they form a giant robot.
And they come together.
Yes.
To form Voltron.
And that is about it. Yeah,
that's kind of the story. He has a sword.
He does. He has a giant sword.
And I basically have remnants of nostalgia of this when I was a kid. This wasn't one of my like go-to shows. But I always thought it was really cool, and the toys were always really cool. I had a lot of friends who had the toys.
Yeah, see, I didn't have the Voltron toys, but I had the friend who had the Voltron toys.
Well, the cool thing is you could each have your own little cat vehicle,
and then they form
and
together.
come together and form Voltron.
I think that's great. So Netflix has this. It's out today. You can watch it on there.
And Rhys Darby, who is one of my favorite comedians in the universe, is Voltron. We actually had an interview with him on Digital Trends that you can check out.
Oh yeah,
he's
Rhys
the best.
Is great. Yeah.
He is the best.
I've interviewed him a couple times too. He's awesome.
Really, yeah. So in my opinion, he is like one of the best parts of Flight of the Conchords, and he also makes What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows. Yes. Present. Jermaine.
Well, rock stars there, are you fellas? Huh? Tearing up the hotel room.
Yeah. So he's in it. It looks fun, but I tell you, this is such a smart move by Netflix because they're trying to go global. I mean, they are global, but they're trying to make all of their series successful globally, and this is such an easy one. It's a cartoon. Yeah. I mean, that's how they do anime. You just redub it, and then you can do it.
Grew up in the 80s or early 90s is going to be into this.
And, anime is everywhere. Everybody loves anime. It's worldwide.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean,
it's smart.
Personally, I would prefer Thundercats if they're going to remake one.
I totally agree.
Some Chitara,
Lion-O. Thundercats. I had a Lion-O toy. He had a sword, and if you push the button in his back, his eyes light up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
We should bring that in next
time.
time.
I should mention that my cat's name is Chitara.
Oh, okay. So that's wow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Should you mention that? Or you want me to bleep that out?
Yeah, we'll cut that from the podcast. This is live, Greg. It's live TV.
Well, so Return of Voltron on there. Also something. I mean, it seems like the '80s are really like where everybody's going to now. It's because '80s and '90s.
That's because all the kids who grew up in the '80s have buying power now. They all have jobs in there, and they're like late 20s, early 30s. Things.
Yeah, G.I. Joe, Transformers.
Absolutely.
Well, this is another thing that's coming out on Netflix. They released the trailer for this. I believe it comes out in July.
Yeah.
And it's a new series called Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah, and this is a ton of 80s nostalgia here,
yeah,
too.
absolutely. It stars Winona Ryder, so there you go. There's some 80s right there.
Sure.
And it's I think, what did you describe it here on the site? I think it was like a cross between X-Files and the Goonies.
It's very early Spielberg, at least the tone, the visual tone.
And it's
it's sort of the basic storyline.
Yeah, the basic premise, I think, is it focuses on these kids. There's a couple of kids who go missing in a forest. One of them comes back, but he's not the same. In a small town.
He goes missing for several days, we think, or a long time, and then he comes back and something's off.
Something's off. And it's, that classic 80s kind of movie where the kids, something's up with the kids. It's a small town.
It looks a lot like Abrams' Super 8.
Yeah, it looks like Super 8.
Which also is a complete homage film to early Spielberg.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, it reminds me of E.T. There's parts of E.T. in there.
Absolutely.
The Explorers, which, did you ever watch that one?
Love the Explorers.
The Explorers was awesome.
That could have been good. That could have been between the cracks for me.
Maybe we can do that at some point if it's still streaming somewhere. Flight of the Navigator. It brought back memories of that.
That's right.
That one.
That was a great one.
Flight of the Navigator was
God, I hope we have some people our age, or they're going to not have any idea what we're talking about.
They're all going to
look up all the. Yeah, you'll see them as a series on Netflix soon.
Expect those.
No
but yeah, Stranger Things is coming out in July, and I am definitely looking forward to this one. I love that kind of feel to it. It's got the '80s kind of feel. Like you said, early Spielberg. It's got mystery to it, at least, and this is just based on the trailer. And it's Winona Ryder. I still like Winona Ryder.
She's good. She kind of freaks me out in real life. I've seen her do some. Well, I've just seen her do some interviews, and I'm just like,
oh yeah. No, so you're passing on Winona.
A little off the reservation a little bit, but she's always been one of my.
That's what makes her interesting.
She's always been one of the most intriguing actresses, and I think the fact that she can seem so normal on screen is a tribute to her acting skills, her prowess.
Pass as normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, Stranger Things. Well, let's go. You do have a Between the Cracks here that I think we should get to, and it is one. Now, I have watched this.
Yeah,
I knew
think
about it.
Everybody's watched this.
I don't know though. Quite honestly, I think a lot of people haven't, because when he first posted there, I was like, everybody's seen this.
Well, I wasn't sure how many people are aware, but so those who are watching Rick and Morty right now know how brilliant Dan Harmon is, but his original show on NBC was Community. Had sort of a troubled run at some points. They fired him, and then they brought him back, and then they took it to Yahoo. But specifically, I brought this up because there are 2 episodes from Community that are such a brilliant entry point. I mean, I guess you might want to watch the first one just to kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
But there's 2 episodes, and they're the paintball episodes. They're sort of famous at this point. The first one was Modern Warfare. And it's an amalgamation of every action movie you've ever seen, basically. Well, we were watching it the other night, and I counted like 20 action tropes in it. So Community is this show about, this lawyer who gets disbarred, and then he goes to this community college, and he meets all these wacky friends.
Played by Joel McHale.
Joel McHale, who's hilarious, and everybody's hilarious in it. Alison Brie.
Yeah.
It goes on and on. Donald Glover. So many good actors.
There's Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase is in it originally. But he comes, and they have all these weird adventures together within the college. And the dean, who is played by...
I forget his name, but you will recognize him in a lot of things. He was even in the most recent Marvel movie, too.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah. But anyway, so the big thing about it, though, the big thing about Community is it's very meta. It's very self-aware, and it's all about using Hollywood action movies, comedies, TV shows, whatever you can think of, all these tropes, and sort of playing with that putting them all together and putting it into play.
Kind of an homage to something like that.
Exactly. But the paintball episodes, what's the name? I think I have the name of the other one.
You have the name. Let's see, the paintball episode. You've got...
The first one's Modern Warfare.
And then, I'm not sure what the names
are. You'll find them online. But the other one is basically all spaghetti westerns. So the first one's all action movies, and the second one's all spaghetti westerns.
I'm sorry, yes, there it is. Yes, spaghetti westerns, directed by Joe Russo.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. So the first paintball episode was directed by Justin Lin, who is the guy that's doing the new Star Trek. And he also did the Fast and the Furious movies, some of them anyway. And then the second one was directed by Joe Russo, who he and his brother are the guys who do the Captain America movies, and they're doing the next Avenger movies.
Okay, so these are some pretty high-end directors that we're talking
Absolutely,
about here. Well, and where can people watch Community?
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu, okay. So you can go stream it there. So look up the paintball episode first off.
I have to just confess something. I lost my second page of the script.
So you're just going all off.
I'm going blind.
You're doing good. I'm fact-checking.
I have my notes here that I put up every week.
We'll red check this.
And I lost a page.
No, you're doing great. No, you nailed it. So Between the Cracks Community, that's what we think you should watch. And also, send us an email. Let us know what you think we should watch that we haven't yet.
Yeah, we're always looking for new stuff.
I know I need to check out the new Maria Bamford series. I'll try to do that this week.
Lady Dynamite.
Talk about that. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things from comedians talking about how much they love it.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
She was in the Comedians of Comedy, and if you haven't seen that, it's Patton Oswalt, Brian Posehn, and Zach Galifianakis. Maybe you've heard of him. They go on tour together. It's a freaking nutso comedy fest. It's like delving into the brains of some of the most brilliant, strange comedic minds of our time. And she's a part of that as well.
Maria is. Yeah. She's odd, but she is very, very funny.
Totally.
So we'll check that out. But let us know what you want to see. Send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. And Between the Streams airs every week live at 2 p.m. on YouTube. So if you're listening via podcast, be sure and jump in next week. Set a reminder for Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific to join us.
Or take us along with you.
Or take us with you just wherever you go.
Wherever you want to go.
That sounds creepy again. I don't know if that was nonsense.
Do your Batman voice.
Oh, yes. Some find us. No. You need to do one of your crazy things really quick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll walk upon the table while the ocean spills out her brain.
All right. We'll be back next week with another episode. That was a really weird way to end this, but it's too late now.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.